Public safety is so important in our community. It is so much that's going on, frightening. You know, you can't go to the Versatile. You can't go to the grocery stores. You can't put your groceries in your cars. You can't do anything. I understand Monday on Broadway, it was a shootout. Someone was trying to hijack a car, and they started shooting.
That was Cynthia Adams, who's the president of the Oakland NAACP. In fact, the NAACP and religious leaders in Oakland have put out a pretty damning statement, an open letter regarding crime in their city, and they want action. They want it now. I want to read you a few excerpts from that open letter where they write that Oakland residents are sick and tired of our intolerable public safety crisis that overwhelmingly impacts minority communities. Murders, shootings, violent armed robberies, home invasions, car break-ins, sideshows, and highway shootouts have become a pervasive fixture of life in Oakland. We call on all elected leaders to unite and declare a state of emergency and bring together massive resources to address our public safety crisis. Further, they write that African Americans are disproportionately hit the hardest by crime in East Oakland and other parts of the city. But residents from all parts of the city report that they do not feel safe. Women are targeted by young mobs and viciously beaten and robbed in downtown and uptown neighborhoods. Asians are assaulted in Chinatown. Street vendors are robbed in Fruitvale. News crews have their cameras stolen while they report on crime. And there were also some statements coming from religious leaders, which I'll read in just a moment. But Waz, I wanted to give you an opportunity to weigh in before I continue.
Yeah, I think the situation in Oakland is pretty dire. Just last year, I was out there for work. I was staying in San Francisco, but I wanted to hang out with some black people. So I went and visited a friend who lives in Oakland so we could go out and have, food and drinks for a bit. And he did the craziest thing. He left his car windows down after parking them just so that they wouldn't be broken into. He's like, yo, if they want to get in the car and go in and take whatever, it's fine. At least my windows won't be broken. That was his answer to the situation down there. And just for context, and I like that statement said resources. A place like New York City has something like tens of thousands of cops. I believe at last I checked, I think it was like 40,000 cops or something crazy like that in New York City. In Oakland, there's like 400 total for the entire city. Obviously, Oakland is a lot smaller than New York City is, but that little bit of police presence is kind of untenable for the state of affairs. I know, here on the left, we don't believe in over-policing people, obviously, but in the meantime, there are people that have to live in neighborhoods with high crimes, and their quality of life is deeply affected by it, and something needs to be done.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. I think we should avoid over policing, right? But there needs to be a balance. Right now, there's a shortage of police in Oakland. I believe that they're short about 500 cops. I want to be clear about something. There was something inaccurate in the NAACP's open letter because they blame part of what's going on the defund the police movement. So Oakland never voted to defund the police there. However, following 2020, in Oakland, much like other cities across the country, ended up losing a lot of cops who decided to enter early retirement or just quit altogether. And then they're having difficulty recruiting cops because of the anti-police sentiment, in the country. Not a lot of people want to be cops. That's actually led to some police departments hiring individuals who quite honestly are not qualified, and that makes me worry a little bit. Now the authors added that there is nothing compassionate or progressive about allowing criminal behavior to fester, and concluded it's not racist or unkind to want to be safe from crime. And aside from blaming defund the police, which again isn't quite accurate in this context, they also blame the district attorney's unwillingness to charge and prosecute people who murder and commit life-threatening serious crimes, and the proliferation of anti-police rhetoric that have created a heyday for Oakland criminals. And I want you to hear more from Cynthia Adams. Again, she is the president of the Oakland NAACP. She spoke to News Nation and kind of talked a little bit about the impact of crime on that community.
Well, it would not be hard for things to get better because of how bad things are. Violent crime up 15%, aggravated assault 9%, robbery 22%, burglary 39%, motor vehicle theft up 49%. The fact that this came from the NAACP is significant because it seems as though over the past couple of years there has been this enormous effort, and perhaps well-intentioned, to defang, if not defund, the police, to not charge people because charging certain crimes was considered racist or wasn't progressive enough. There was better ways to fight crime. What changed?
Public safety. Public safety. Our seniors are crying out public safety. As you know, a lot of seniors now are living longer. And they're still driving, they're still going shopping, they're still doing activities and everything. Public safety changed a lot of things.
So she's pretty clear about it. I honestly, especially in this current climate, give her and the NAACP in Oakland a lot of credit for speaking out about this because it isn't a popular message, especially among progressives at the moment. I think that the tide is changing a little bit as you see these communities, especially minority communities, those who have lower income being impacted the most by the crime. And there are religious leaders who are joining in on this effort in sending this message. So Bishop Bob Jackson from the Acts Full Gospel Church says that crime in Oakland is the worst that he's seen in 77 years. And he is calling for a state of emergency as well. He's quoted as saying, "We need to do something now to curtail, I think, World War III happening in the city of Oakland. I've seen all of the different drug problems, the gangs, but I have never seen the city of Oakland in the condition that it is in right now, and it's a desperate situation." So look, I think they're right in drawing attention to this and wanting to call for a state of emergency. But one of my concerns, and this is the reason why I've been talking about this story, is that the pendulum might swing back to the tough on crime stuff, right? The mass incarceration stuff. And I don't think that's the right answer. What do you think about that, Waz? What do you think the right solution is to all of this?
I think long term, obviously there needs to be some sort of material change in the lives of the people that come up in Oakland. I just know that if this were happening in the more gentrified neighborhoods, or better yet, the traditionally affluent neighborhoods of Oakland, this would have been dealt with a long time ago. And to me, that's the framing that folks need to understand. When we talk about policing, one, we gotta stop putting this blanket sort of analysis on all policing. I say this all the time. The policing in New York City is different from Oakland, is different from Uvalde, is different from San Fernando Valley, where I live. Like, it's all different. We can't apply one mode of thinking to the entire apparatus of policing in a place as vast and diverse as America is. And again, what I would encourage people to understand when the NAACP, an organization that I have a lot of my own critiques for, quite frankly, they can be pretty right wing, particularly on economic issues. However, the people that they're speaking on behalf of are working class and under people. Okay, these are the most vulnerable people within that society. And no, we don't think it's cool that they should be subjected to crimes. And yeah, man, if it gets pretty crazy for some people out there, so that, you know, elderly people can feel a little bit safer, I would imagine that most people in the community would sign up for that bargain. I don't want to speak on behalf of them, right? I don't live there. I don't know what it's like, what it's gonna be like when more police come in and start trying to fix this situation. But I would probably venture a guess that the actual people who live there, who live under those conditions, would welcome that change.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.